Hey everybody, happy Thursday. I almost said happy Tuesday, but the end of the world happened in Spring, Texas, where I am near ExxonMobil on Tuesday. So it is happy after Tuesday, after Tuesday. But welcome to the Rig on Wheels show featuring MVT. I am your host, Kameel Gaines, the CEO and founder of Rig on Wheels, broker and recruitment services. And we have our favorite internal recruiter over there at Mesilla Valley Transportation out there in El Paso. We got him, Josue. Look at Josue over there. You happy to be with us, Josue?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sure am.
Okay. So we're here. We're going to give you some, we're always here to give you some hot, juicy news. But we're going to have a special show for you today. Okay. So we're still going to continue with our question and answers that we had the last time Josue was on. We're going to have some hot, juicy jobs. We might have some good gossip. We're going to see how it goes. And then we also are going to still talk about the Blue Beast, which is the MVT truck. And we're just going to continue and see how everything flows. Hopefully, we get some live questions as well, but we're going to continue with the truck questions that we have been getting throughout the year, and we just kind of formulated them and gave them to Kayla and Dominique. So Kayla and Dominique are just going to tag team us and give us questions and do this question and answer. But on Tuesday, just to kind of let you guys know, in the area where I am, is somebody worked on something and hit something, so everything kind of went dead for a while, for a few hours. And now we are threatening a tornado here in the spring area. So the weather is bad again. So I'm actually at my apartment complex in the conference room. I don't live too far. I'm literally steps away from my office, but the Rig on Wheels office, but I decided to actually just stay at the apartment and just be at the conference room downstairs. So I didn't have to deal with the weather just in case we had to do shelter and all of that type of stuff. I thought it would probably be the smartest thing to do since the world was ending. But before we jump into everything, I greatly appreciate everybody riding with us all of this time. We've been doing this for 18 months with MVT. Just grateful for all of that. Follow us on everything that you all follow us on, especially at YouTube. Go ahead and share this, follow, and then click on the bell so you can subscribe and get notified of any live or new podcasts and any videos that we drop. And of course, we are on any of your favorite podcast platforms, your Apple, your iHeart, your Spotify, Deezer, all of that. We are on all of those audio versions. Okay, so let's get this started. Who's going to throw the first question out to us? Is it going to be Dominique or is it going to be Kayla? Who wants to do us first?
It'll be me today.
Okay, Dominique.
So the first question is for Josue. How does working with a third-party recruiter like Rig on Wheels benefit me compared to applying directly to a company?
I mean, first of all, it's very convenient. Rig on Wheels helps us out a lot. They know everything that we offer in this company, from benefits to orientation location to, what DQs a driver, what kind of driver we're hiring. So they are very good. It's like if you're literally just talking to another MVT recruiter. That's the way we see it. So I know that stuff could be lost in translation at points, but thank God that every time I work with Rig on Wheels recruiters, it's basically I like to recap with the driver. And when I do that, it's basically, for example, what Nimmer was saying to the driver is exactly what I would say to the driver. So it's easy. Um, Drivers sometimes they get a little bit skeptical, like, hey, who am I working for? Whatever the case, but it's Rig on Wheels makes it easy. By the time I get their application, you know, they tell them everything from A through Z. So I just go from A through Z as well, and we put them in, and it's an easy process. They have two recruiters, me myself with MBT, and they have Nimmer. So just in case if I can't answer the phone because I'm, for example, doing this podcast and they need to get some type of question answered, then Nimmer could step in and she could go ahead and be like, hey, I know the information of MBT, so I could definitely answer that question for you. And then she helps me and tell me, hey, can you call this driver as well? Just in case that, everyone's on the same page. So it's beneficial for sure.
Yeah, and I want to piggyback on that. MVT makes it very easy to do business with. They're a great company to partner with. So having a carrier that makes doing business with is great. It also lets you know that when you send drivers over there, they're going to be cared for from the beginning, from dealing with the recruiter all the way through. It makes communication very well, from the way Josue communicates with us, how he communicates with the driver. And Nimmer is one of the lead recruiters over here. She also writes the blogs. So she's very, very well versed in logistics, in the trucking industry, in supply chain, all of that. So what we don't know, we make sure that we get an answer, right? If we can't get Josue on a text message or an email or phone call right away, we do ask. We might ask each other as colleagues, or we go directly to Josue and try to get him on a communication so we can find out from the driver, first of all. But then once the driver actually commits to the job and commits to the application, once the conversation is over, the recruiter, i.e., Nimmer, they send a recap of the conversation, which means they send an email of the summary of the job that they talked about. So they're able to, in the middle of the night, when they're talking to their wife, their old lady, whomever it is that helps them make a decision, they're able to say, oh, look, this is the job that I spoke to Nimmer about. This is the job that I spoke to Raven about. This is the job that I spoke to Lydia about. I spoke to Wendy, all of that type of stuff. And so they have all of this information. Then when they speak to Josue, they're able to say, oh, okay, now I understand this is what Nimmer was talking about. Because Josue might explain it a little different, or he might go in depth with it a little bit more, or it might be a little bit more of an understanding because everybody explains things differently. And so that's good. And also, MVT puts stuff in writing as well. So what we're glad about is we put things in writing that we say, and then the company Josue represents, which is MVT, Mesilla Valley, puts it in writing as well once the driver commits to this is what he wants to do. So it makes it very easy. That's a great question that drivers ask. So next question, Dominique.
Alrighty. So my next question is, how do you decide which companies to partner with and recommend to drivers?
That's for me, I'm supposing. So when we get the driver on the phone, sometimes they assume from the advertisement or whatever, this is the job I want. But we ask questions. You know, we want to know what why do you want to leave your current company? Can you pass a drug test? Can you pass a hair drug test? You know, if you can't pass this hair drug test, then these companies are eliminated. These are the companies that are urine companies. You know, um, when was the last time you were in an accident? What type of accident? If you had it your perfect way, what are your top reasons why you want to look for another job? What are your absolute no's? Things like that. We need to know what is it that your family wants you to have in your next job. So these type of questions are what actually will help us route a driver to their ideal next job. And then we always like to give them quite a few choices and then allow them to apply for 3 jobs. And then when they apply for these 3 jobs, we'll say, okay, Peter, these are the 3 jobs that you want to apply for. You have A, B, and C. Of A, B, and C, which one is your top job? That way we know. And then why? And then once they're telling us about that, we want to know, what is it about job B that you like? What is it about, all of these jobs? So we know why they want these jobs. That's important. What do they see themselves doing at this job and why? They need X amount of money for their daughter Julie's daycare. They see themselves paying Julie's daycare. That is important. Uh, so that's the reason why. Somebody can say, oh, I want to work at X, Y, and Z. But when we're talking to them, we realize they don't want to work at X, Y, and Z. They thought they wanted to work for X, Y, and Z. They actually want to work for A, B, and C. So our job is to route them to the ideal job for them. So that's how we, Dominique, that's how literally we help them make the decision for them and their family at that time, right? So it can be another, in 18 months or in a year, life changes literally. And X, Y, and Z might be for them, but right now it's not for them. So our point is to have them be at that job. Is a retention thing. So have them be at that job for as long as possible. Not then to get there and they realize X, Y, and Z was not for me because my life is not set up for X, Y, and Z. That's the worst thing you want to do is get to a job personally. Get to a job and realize this is not for me. It's like being in a relationship. And you get in that relationship or you sitting at that first date and you say, this could have just been a phone call. It's the same thing.
Awesome. That was a great answer. We actually got we actually got a live question from a commenter.
Okay, so from what platform, Dominique?
LinkedIn.
Okay, Linky.
All right, you guys ready for it?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay, perfect. What is the biggest challenge you see companies battling to overcome in respect to driver retention?
What I see, I think because I deal with quite a few carriers, is they don't want to always understand their room for opportunity. We all have our weakness. And we need to uncover the ugly baby, right? We all, as parents, right? A lot of us are parents. So we're saying that we all have room to improve in our parenting style, right? So with saying that, you need to know what your goal is and what's the work that needs to be done in that. So what I've noticed with carriers, There are some carriers that say, I want to improve retention, and that's a PR statement. And really, what they're trying to do is outwork their burn. So, all that they're trying to do is out recruit their turnover. That's fine if that's what you're trying to do. And you need to just communicate that with us as your third party partner. You're really not trying to improve your retention, you're trying to outpace your turnover. Then you have other companies that they're actually trying to improve their retention and they're trying to make a profit off of that. So, what I mean by that, you have companies that work with uh, a third party retention company named, and I'll go ahead and name the name, Hello Retention, right? They don't do the paper surveys. They do utilize technology and AIs and things like that. So they can actually then use human people to call every driver, not to do paper surveys, but to do human surveys, to ask questions. And they have a template of when they do them, how they do them, the questions that they ask, all of that. So then they can gather information, give it, and know what needs to be brought up in quarterly meetings, how we can adjust this, how we can do this. That way, the companies can say, we need to adjust these type of things so we can actually save money and make a profit. So you have companies like that that are actually trying to retain the drivers in real life, and then you have the ones that are doing it for PR sake. I'm not saying which company. I'm a Virgo, so I'm just black and white, right across the board. I'm not a gray area person. I'm straight business, right? So I'm not going to say which company is right. What I am going to say is, let's be realistic in what you're doing so we can partner and actually make your business goals be for real. And let's get down to business for 2025. So if you're just trying to outpace your turnover, we know that, and let's do that as a goal and have that spreadsheet and that formula going. And if you're actually trying to improve your retention, then we can partner up with Hello Retention and actually make you money, because your retention can actually profit you money, and you will be able to put into the development of your drivers, your development of your recruiters, and weekly and quarterly trainings and things like that. So you can be able to do that. There are two lines and two courses of action for that, but you need to first say, behind closed doors, not for the world to know, but you need to say, what is my realistic goal? That's how we need to go forward with that. And then I am definitely, I keep, I don't tell the world that you're just a PR company, but for the ones that are not PR companies, like an MBT, that does actually and has made extreme improvement um, with their retention, I do let the world know about those. Now, can you tell me who asked that question, Dominique?
That was Kenneth West.
Yeah. So that is that part of it. Now, if Kenneth, if you're asking, that can be another deeper question, like what is the problem with companies retention? Like what is the main thing that I see as far as why drivers are not staying? It's not pay, it's equipment. And it's not the how do you treat the drivers, because you can treat them wonderful when they still leave, you know. But it's typically equipment. is the reason why drivers leave is going to be equipment, because they're sitting in a truck, even if they're not OTR drivers, they're sitting in that truck for 11 hours or more, and nobody wants to sit in garbage. Or if they are regional or OTR drivers, and what I mean by that is if they're drivers that are sleeping in their truck, they need to be in trucks that are clean and not maintenance clean. When they get in that truck for the first time, they need new mattresses. Their trucks need to be detailed in real life. They don't need to be maintenance clean. They need to be really clean. So it's typically going to be equipment. There needs to be a plan B and a C for when that truck breaks down, not if the truck breaks down. So those are the that is what I see as the reasons why uh, drivers leave. So on the 10th Street applications that come through and they say why we left the last company, or as Nimmer and the rest of the crew actually has to, because they might just say better opportunity or something like that, we instruct them to actually ask real questions. Better opportunity is not a reason, and we don't put in applications that say better opportunity because that's not a reason. We actually have to know, because we don't even put in applications that say they got terminated or laid off. Laid off is fine, but why? Because it more than likely was terminated, right? So if it was terminated, we need to know why it was terminated. Was it attendance or was it safety? And if it was terminated, we don't just say for company policy. We need to know what company policy. We, I, the Rig on Wheels recruiters are trained very much in detail on those applications. Okay, so I hope that answers that question. But please keep that going, Kenneth, because that is great. That question, I could dig into that so much because that is, it can go into a lot of layers with that.
Great. Love that. Alrighty, we got another LinkedIn question.
Okay, LinkedIn.
I know they're popping off today. From I think this one is from Arjun Joshi. I apologize if I missaid that name. But the question is, what are carriers doing to retain their top producing driver besides higher pay and benefits?
You said what a carrier is doing to retain
Their
Argent.
top,
Okay,
their top producing driver.
I like that question. Josue, I want you to answer that. But first, let me say this. The reason why I like that question is just across the board, too many people concentrate on their lower producing folk versus their higher producing folk. You know what I mean? And we need to concentrate on our higher producing folk. So he said, besides pay and what else he said? Besides pay and what else? Kayla? Kayla.
Repeat that, please.
Arjun said besides pay and what else?
Benefits.
Okay, so besides pay and benefits, because a top producing person can get pay and benefits from anywhere. So Josue, can you share some of the things that NBT does?
I mean, we take care of our drivers. We have what we call a driver appreciation, and you'll see there the drivers that are professional drivers. You see the drivers that you could definitely tell that they put their time in, their miles in, they're safe drivers. So we give a car away every quarter. We give a car away to the driver that's doing the right thing. Saving gas, being safe out there, being a professional driver, and talking to the customers right. So we give a brand new car every quarter. Along with at the end of the year, we give our top drivers they enter a raffle and they have a chance to win $25,000. So and them just basically doing what they're supposed to do, which is basically, drive safely, be professional. They do have a chance to, win cars, win a lot of cash, 25K. Um, so that's one of the benefits that we offer here to go ahead and take care of our drivers for sure.
And that is true. And so let me piggyback on that and say it a little more. Josue, this is his only company that he's worked for. So he doesn't know how big the fact that MVT does quarterly driver appreciation is huge, and drivers are actually invited to the driver appreciation, and they are giving away cars, and then yearly. Um, Somebody gets to 25K as well. So that is a big deal. If it is a team, instead of them getting a car, they actually split the 25,000 as cash because you can't split a car per person. The value goes away. That's an inside joke. So because I always think I'm a comedian and I try to, do that whole Chris Rock thing, but it's good that John said this. It so not the regular benefits, I that benefit, and then other benefits that I see that companies are doing as far as flexible stuff. So with time off, and I think they're trying to do it just like other industries are doing. So you have so much diversity within our industry and our drivers. Thank you. Everybody knows I'm a big diversity person, DEI, which goes from gender, age, ethnicity, all of that stuff, our background, education, and everything. But with the fact that we're such a melting pot of so many different cultures and how we celebrate everything, we just had Christmas. Now we're in Kwanzaa. We got Hanukkah and all of that. So, for an example, Christmas was just yesterday, but how about so many people don't celebrate Christmas, right? So, if you had so many drivers that might have been off for Christmas, but what if they don't celebrate Christmas? So, having the opportunity to have floating holidays. So, I had a opportunity to opportunity to consult with a home daily uh, company. They're a logistics company that, oh, by the way, has drivers. They do have a nice amount of trucks. They have 60 trucks and 70 some drivers. So, what I let them know is the floating holidays because everyone does not celebrate that at the same time. So, we can still have the same amount of days off, but don't have it at the same time. And the drivers seem to be so happy, and
And
that
that
small thing helped his turnover greatly. Something else is, and I sing Hello Retention's name so much. Now we always tell drivers, it's almost like when we, not the drivers are kids, but let's just go with this idea. We always tell drivers don't text and drive. And then when they're on their breaks, they need to be chilling or resting and all of that. Right? We don't want them to text and drive, but then we send them surveys to do on their phone. Well, Hello Retention doesn't do the surveys on the phone as far as they have to do emails or texts or anything like that. They do the phone call. So just going those extra miles, if it's something that you don't want your drivers to do, don't participate in those things with the companies that you partner with. So be that company throughout everything for your driver. Don't be a hypocrite. So small things like that. That small thing. Another thing, with the fact that the new CV is social media now, whether or not You, ABC company, are on TikTok. You're on TikTok because your drivers are on TikTok. So when they're on TikTok, Twitter, or all these other platforms, and they're speaking not so greatly of you, you need to immediately get on there and figure out what's going on. So you need to have an engagement person. So that can be tagged onto somebody else's job, somebody admin job, something like that. It needs to attach to someone. And going back to the something else that Kenneth was saying, if and this goes to something with Arjan, so this is kind of married together. If you want to improve your retention, it has to belong to someone. Somebody needs to be accountable for the retention and receive the bonuses and the pay and everything for it. If not, if it doesn't attach to a paycheck, then it doesn't matter. So some VP, some director needs to be accountable to that. Then they will make sure that the fleet managers answer to that. Because if this particular fleet manager, all his drivers are leaving, let me tell you something. We need to have some stirring in the pot there. Somebody needs to be set as an example, right? We need to figure out what's going on there. But going back to benefits, so I think it needs to be benefits, John, but it doesn't need to be the regular benefits. Another reason why is the generation that we're trying to attract, mainly the millennials and better, uh, younger, right? Like Josue's age and younger, not my age. Those folk, they're not worried about benefits, health benefits, and things like that the same way that people 41 and older are. They're worried about benefits that are less tangible. So it's a little bit different. Um, that's the reason why I say it still benefits, but it's not the benefits like you and I might be talking. Not you're probably not my age, but not your traditional benefits. Uh, but it's still a benefit of the driver. Also, another way to keep your driver happy is from the top down, but starting with the top, needs to know what the culture of their company is. And it's no right or wrong unless it's a toxic environment. Every company has a culture, or if not, it needs to be established. And then it needs to be explained all the way to somebody like me, third party recruiter. I need to know what the culture is. That way we can send the right driver to that culture, because it could be a quality driver, but if it's not the driver for that culture, it won't work. It just it won't work. The driver won't be happy. The company won't be happy. It just is what it is. The same way here at Rig on Wheels. If it's not the right person that works there, we will mess up their mental health. It's just what it is. I am a certain type of boss. So it's a certain person that will work in our culture. And they will thrive and they will have fun and everything. But another person will be like, ain't no way in hell I
I
want
will.
to. And another person will be like, this is the best thing God ever created for me. Where has Rig on Wheels been all my life? You know? So I think those are the things. It really has to be with the energy and the culture. Certain things are bad. Some stuff needs to be, we need to take a step back and think. And those are the things that we're not willing to do because we're so afraid it's going to mess up our profit. I just want to be honest. If we took a step back for a couple of weeks, and I know it's hard, We are in trucking. It's a 24/7 thing, but it's really what needs to be necessary. And just think what is going to work for us and then build on that. What type of driver do we want? And that is what it is. And don't be afraid to lose the driver that doesn't work with that. It's like a marriage. Don't be in something that doesn't work. So I hope that if that doesn't answer your questions, John, can you elaborate even more? Because I tried to elaborate. Anything you want to say, Josue?
Yeah, you know what I was thinking? It's crazy how you say about culture. Because my father-in-law, he's a truck driver. We were hanging out at his house on the 24th, a couple
Are
of
you
days ago.
serious? Is this the first time you ever said your daddy-in-law was a truck driver?
Yeah, but like, so I stopped recruiting him like maybe the second or third time I tried to because you're talking about culture, you know? So I tell him, hey, like, you should come work over here at Messia. He's more like, he works for a smaller company, a little bit more freedom. Like, it's not consistent pay, but I guess it works for him and my mother-in-law. So they're like more of a, you know what, I'll leave, I'll take 3 days off, 3.5 days
Yeah,
off, and then I'll get my other load. All respects to that. But that's when I started recruiting him because I told him with us, it's more uniform. It's a little bit more
yeah,
strict. It's more, if I tell you 5 to 7 days with the 34-hour reset, you're going to be out 5 to 7 days with the 34-hour reset. Of course, if you need extended time off, that's cool. Just let it know in advance and we'll help you. But just the fact that I don't want to recruit him because I know that I'm doing a disservice to him himself because I know the style of driver he is and what his preferences are, and to the company as well. Because then I don't want to force him to come to Mesilla Valley, and all of a sudden at a 34-hour reset, he'll be like, "No, dude, just come to other company. I used to stay 3 days, maybe 4 days," and I'm
hmm,
just like, "It's not gonna fly with Mesilla." You know what I mean? So sometimes we just talk, and he'll give me knowledge about how it was and the trucking industry, but like maybe the second or third time once I started talking to him and started learning about like his style of running and his preferences, that's when I was like, you know what, like you maybe should stay over there, and I'll stop recruiting you because it's not going to be a good, like it's not going to be a good match whatsoever because you're used to one thing and which is working for you, which is great, but also we carry business with Messiah different, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So that's when I kind of have to realize, okay, maybe we'll stop there and just kind of hang out. But yeah, you know what I
And
mean? So it's
that's
crazy.
yeah. I'm so glad you brought that up. And that is, John basically was just saying that it
Mhm.
needs to be more than just benefits and pay. People will think it's just benefits and pay and consistency. Consistency is important, but
All right.
consistency is also relative to that driver. Your daddy-in-law consistency is he needs his consistency is flexibility for him and his old lady. Him and his wife is what the consistency needs to be. It's the culture of his family unit.
Mhm.
Some people's consistency needs to be these particular days, right? So it needs to be that something can happen in his life where he does need to come to a Mesilla Valley. That's where change of life happens. But that also comes to you growing as a recruiter and saying, I'm listening. I'm not
Mhm.
trying to just recruit him for my numbers. I'm listening. Because eventually, yes, you would have been able to recruit him. He's your daddy-in-law. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he helps raise your kids. But you you're listening, and that's what's so important in this business is literally listening, and that is what we have to do when it comes to retention, and we are not going to always get it right. It's about relationships, and in relationships we are trying to do 80/20, not 100%. It's just 80/20. That's all we're trying to do is 80/20. That's what we're trying to do. This is a marriage. We're married. So it's just 80/20. That's what we're trying to do. But I love both of those questions, the
Mhm.
live questions that are John and Kenneth said. Like that's 100. I man, I love I love those type of questions because those are real retention questions. To be honest, I want to go to commercial. Um, let's go to a if you can put up the quotes commercial with Raven and all of them testimony type of commercials from the drivers, and then we come back. We want to do hot jobs, and then we'll go back to questions. Dominique.
Hello, everybody. I'm Anthony Davis. I'm a truck driver from Cleveland, Texas. I've been driving for 3.5 years now. I recently saw a podcast with Rig on Wheels on YouTube. I gave them a call. They was fast. They was efficient. They helped me out. I didn't really want to be over the road, so they got me a good regional job. And hey, you should give them a call.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Was trying to comment on some of these live posts. Um, can you read or somebody read what Jeff said? He said something 6 minutes ago. You must be upfront, Dominique. Or you want
Yeah,
me
I
to read?
can definitely read it. You must be upfront with your candidates before they are hired. It's not just about filling a seat. You must be totally transparent about the company, the benefits, the holidays they have to work based on the client's expectations, etc. Ask them about their families. Talk to drivers and treat them how you want to be treated. There's so much to gain a driver's trust.
Absolutely. I totally agree, Jeff, because anytime you're dealing with some, thanks, Dominique. Anytime that you're dealing with paying somebody, like this pays their rent, their mortgage, their daycare, their cell phone bill, you are literally dealing with their world, like everything. So they
They
are handing you everything. They need you to tell them the truth, but you have to ask them so many questions. And in addition to that, you have to gain their trust and make them know that they have to be transparent, not just honest. They have to be transparent with you so you can help them to the best of your ability. That is your job as a recruiter, and that is what separates you as an amateur recruiter is to know when they're being honest and transparent versus not. Because we are here to help them and help them as fast as possible so they can go to work. And it's not just about filling a seat. And that's where the growth and maturity as a recruiter is to know this is not the company for them or it's not the right time for them. That you don't want to mess up somebody because it's their livelihood. You know what I mean? You're not selling them food, you're selling them their life. It's literally their livelihood. It's not like I used to sell printers. So, I'm not dissing on the people that still selling printers, but it's not like you're selling them a printer. You're literally selling them their livelihood. And then we're part of what makes America move. I don't want to say the slogan, but we're part of what makes America move. So that's huge.
And you know what? When you say that, sometimes I talk to a driver, all he wants is local, right? Of course, local is less pay, but they want money. So I try to put him in local, but I kind of let him know, hey, like what we talked about, money's a big issue right now. I don't think this local position is kind of probably do this at the moment for you. Plus, not going to cut it as far as like what you may compare to a regional position or being out for a couple of days. So I kind of like, I don't give them financial, advice or nothing like that, but I let them know, hey, well, these are the other options that you can be in for a little bit just to get your apartment running back and going, or you just relocated from Houston to Dallas, and maybe this type of money is not going to be able to help you do that this time. I give them options, and you know what? I'm down to go ahead and do this for 2 months. That way, I could just finish relocating, finish, doing everything that I need, and then hopefully in the near future put them in local, and then because I like to put my drivers like in a successful position. It's not just filling a truck because at the end of the day, if they leave in a month, 2 months, it hurts the company. Like we want to just not be that revolving door. You want to make sure that we have drivers here and they're committed and they're happy with what they work with. You know what I mean? Or who they work for. But yeah, that's crazy. Like hearing the driver, hearing what they need, kind of game planning a situation for the driver. Give them a situational plan, and yeah, that's what I like to do. Just hearing what they want, hearing what they need, and then brainstorm together, and then just guide them as best as we can.
And local is a lot of turnover too,
Hmm.
because drivers think they want to be local, but it's not. Local and pay don't go together. Home time and pay. So with saying that, they end up saying, I need more money, spend more money when you're back home, and all of that type of stuff. So a lot more goes into it. But thank you, Josue, because you right on, and I just love your perspective because you are the internal recruiter, and I've heard that so many times from internal recruiters, but I love your perspective being on this show. It's it's so valuable to me. It's just wonderful. But we're saying that, let's go ahead and pull up these jobs, man. Or Dominique. Dominic, we're gonna come up with a name for you too. So we got Division 100 hiring out of El Paso, the other part of Texas that's really not Texas. Go ahead.
Easy, easy. So yeah, this position right here is Division 100 out of El Paso, Texas. This is a route that takes about 4 to 6 days to complete. You must live 75-mile radius from El Paso, Texas, which is probably includes, Las Cruces since it's so close to us. But basically, the areas that you're going to be hitting is that big blue circle up there, which we consider the Midwest, Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, Kentucky, Missouri, Wisconsin. So you're going to be hitting those areas. Coming down, I mean, you can come straight down to El Paso, or you might stop at the DFW area, then back to El Paso, or DFW to Albuquerque, back to El Paso. But you will always come back to El Paso to do your reset. This is a position that you could get anywhere from 1450 close to the $1550 mark on a weekly basis. And this is one of the positions that we need help recruiting, and we're excited to go ahead and promote this one for sure.
Yeah, this is a big one for us. All righty, let's go to the next one. Now, this is a favorite of Pearson's, most definitely. This is a favorite of his. So it is Division 329 Texas Regional. Even though you might hit a smidget of Oklahoma, you might hit a smidget of Louisiana, but you're basically just in Texas. The hiring areas is 75 miles of Houston, San Antonio, and Laredo. Um, Your average pay is going to be between 12.50 and 18. What does that say? 18 or 16?
It's anywhere from 12.50 to 18.24 on a weekly basis.
Okay, you can go on and say the print is too small for me. We're not going to
I
talk
got
about.
you. You know, you're fine. So that's at Texas Regional. 5 to 7 days, a 34-hour reset on this one, anywhere from 12.50 to 18.24 on a weekly basis. Like Camille said, from Houston, DFW, San Antonio, and Laredo. Most of the driving, like she said as well, it's in Texas, with just Oklahoma, a little bit of Oklahoma, and a little bit of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This is one of our big, I guess, driver's favorite positions. So yeah, this one is good. Like I said, 5 to 7 days with a 34-hour reset.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the generational thing, and I probably need my readers on, but that is what it is. But this is a job that always fills up fast. Everybody likes this Texas Regional, not just the VP of recruiting at Mesilla Valley, but this is a favorite of recruiters and drivers alike. That is for sure. Including that commercial that you saw a few minutes ago with DeAnthony. This is the account that he was hired on. So if you can go to the 400, that would be great, Dominique. So this one is Division 400. The hiring area is Memphis, where they got some good old food there. So Memphis and Dallas, so 75 miles of that. Your weekly earning is $1,650 on average, and your miles is 2,500 to 3,000. You do have a reset for your home time. Is this the one that you get that bonus?
Yeah, so on this particular one, we have a productivity bonus. Basically, how it works, if you do what you do best, which is, remain
Remain active.
active, driving safely, no accident, no tickets. If you run 10,000 miles, you get 2 cents for all those miles you ran in that month at the end of the month as a bonus for remaining productive. Or if you run more than 12,000 miles, you do get paid 5 cents for all those miles at the end of the month as a bonus for you remaining, active and knowing how to work your hours and being productive for sure.
Yeah, this is definitely great. And we want you on any of these accounts. Now, let me go ahead and let you guys know. If you could take this down, Dominique, that'll be perfect. So I want to let you guys know. MVT has a lot more accounts. Local, the whole nine, right? So we have accounts from Ohio all the way over to California, all the way down to Jacksonville, Florida. These are just the ones that are hot off the press. All right. So give us a call. If you can throw the telephone number up there, that'd be great, Dominique. Give us a call at 281 968 3100, 281 968 3100, or go directly to the website at rigonwheels.com. And if you click on a tab that says driver application, you can complete the application. It is an auto populate, so you just have to completely fill it out, update all your stuff, and we'll give you a call back tomorrow. They work on the weekends as well, but they will be able to give you a call back and get everything set up for you. So the idea is that you'll be able to go to Mesilla Valley. But let's say that you don't have the 6 months experience, or if you're in Texas, you don't have or Houston, let's say, you don't have the 2 years experience, right, Josue? 2 years
Correct.
experience if you're in Houston or Phoenix, Arizona. And you have to go to another company that we have, because we do serve over 40 companies. Our goal is to get you to your ideal company for you at this time. Okay, we always consult with you as far as for a career advancement, because we want trucking to be for you for the long haul. It's not just for retention at a particular carrier. I want to be honest, it's retention in this industry. That is the goal, is for us to keep you in this industry. keep you in this industry. I will say it again. So give us a call at 281-968-3100. 281-968-3100. Well, we are actually at the bottom and top of the hour. So any last comments you want to say?
No, I
No.
mean, we covered everything. Everything's good so far. You know, the questions that came in, they were a very good question.
Yeah.
So no, everything's good for sure.
Everything's good. Okay, well, that's for me as well. So, what I want to do is just say thank you to everybody. Thank you for you three gentlemen on LinkedIn. I really appreciate you guys. I want y'all to just really, hug your family, just be close to your family, enjoy this holiday season, whatever you celebrate. Just stay close to the ones you love. For you drivers, stay safe on the roads. We really appreciate you. All my driver friends that was out on the yard this morning and the ones that was getting ready on the truck stops early in the morning, do that. We really appreciate everybody. Be safe, and we're signing off. We'll see you next week on Tuesday. Same time, 3 p.m. Central Standard. Bye bye.